Our next series here, the big one. Dig facing off against Method. We'll check in with Athero and Wubby as they talk about facing off against each other.
I love playing with Benny. I think he knows what he's doing. When he's on tank, he knows exactly what engages to go for, and it feels like there's definite just natural synergy there. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of feels like slipping into an old shoe, you know, like you just know what's going to happen before it happens. So going against Dignitas, I think we definitely have a chance on beating them. I think we have a better chance with this roster than we did with our old roster, although they do look strong and they've just come off of a good showing at MSB. So yeah, we'll just see what happens and hopefully we can take the win. So playing as Wubby is kind of what I want to happen almost every game, where he's testing you, he knows when you make a mistake, so he's punishing your mistakes. It's a really big deal playing against someone who actually is proactive in the way they play the game, and I think it's a big reason as to why he's considered the best in Europe.
Method is for sure up there still in the top 4 and a contender for the Western Clash and a big opponent for us. I would say that they feel slightly weaker than they did last time they had this roster, but I feel like they're more motivated now, but might not be on the level of the other top teams right now. I'm very flattered that Athero mentioned me the way he did in his post-game interview, but I also think that he's one of the stronger laners as well. I think some matchups that I struggle with, he can play very well. So if the draft goes their way, he can for sure be stronger than me in the side lane and maybe pull out the win for them. If there was some way to measure the 1v1 in like a equal place for some reason, I don't think there is, but if there were, I think I go out with 70-30 against him.
Wubby versus Athero. That'll be a fun top lane, as well as we need to consider that last week they were the first two to pull out Urel and show her off in the HGC with today's buffs coming out. She'll be highly contested between these two. Wubby even went on record saying it's one of his favorites.
Yeah, and I think we already talked about how we expect her to be picked throughout the entire weekend. So Goat Girl is definitely going to make sure that she is here to stay and hop around like a bunny.
And that's what she does very, very well. Lana, of course, reaching out to us. One of the animators actually worked on Urel. I don't think she likes us calling the Goat Lady, man. She likes the Goat Girl a little bit more, I think.
That big, like, it's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, right? I don't know. I think Goat Girl is the way to go. I think we're going to go ahead and stay with Goat Girl all the way. I don't know. Lana, let us know. What is the exact approach we should go with? Now, let's go ahead and get ready.
Just call her the Goat.
Just go with the Goat. The greatest of all time, Urel, coming in here. That's what Goat means.
Yeah,
that's what it means.
That and other things, also the name of, like, you know.
Yeah, maybe an animal or something.
She's not quite on LeBron level yet.
Let's go ahead and move straight into Battleground at #1, this best of 5 series. Dignitas picks up Tuma Spider Queen as our Battleground. Method will have the first pick.
And of course, Braxis is being banned again. That's the second time that Dignitas bans Braxis. Braxis just continues to be a map that nobody really wants to play. And that is echoed in HGC Europe. We had a few games on Braxis in our phase 1. Not a lot.
Braxis.
So Braxis right now is still the only map in HGC Europe that hasn't seen any play whatsoever. And I actually think that there's a good chance that when another map rotation comes in, when the teams vote again, that maybe Alterac Pass is going to make his way in, or that teams are going to replace Braxis with something else.
2-lane map, man. Braxis holdout, unfortunately, might get the shaft there. We'll get Alterac Pass maybe instead. Been hearing some changes lately coming on that map as well. We'll have to see if it goes into here really soon too. Now, going into Tuma Spider Queen, looking for the control. We already saw a Chrome Week today in terms of being able to hold down the Web Weaver phase and try to move in for those turn-ins. Also wondering if we're going to get that Blaze coming in. Not so much in game, or series #1. We had it in one game, but Blaze is something that we've seen from both Athero and Wubby in the past, and they love the ability to poke around for that turn-in too.
I mean, let me put the changes that we had in rosters a bit in perspective. We had a lot of teams just after the big changes after BlizzCon 2017 just look at their lineup and say, okay, there are either problems on a personal level or ideas how you could strengthen your lineup, where everybody started to shuffle around. And a lot of that happened. And so in phase 1 of 2018, you had everyone just evaluating, okay, did that actually work out for us, or do we have problems with that? And now as we're heading into phase 2 and the small changes that now are occurring, it's basically the fine-tuning of the rosters that we see. So what's still expected for part 1 of phase 2, we're still seeing some teams trying to find their rhythm and maybe trying to search for that synergy that they had in the past. Method is a very good example, since it's a lineup that already played in 2017 as the 5-man that we see now. But I would say that all of those teams are going to have their strongest showing once that we're heading into part 2 of phase 2. But for now, Method is still going to look for that synergy. They have played as those 5 players in the past, but there are still a couple of problems that they might have to smooth out. But they're already looking very, very strong. Question, of course, still remains, can they contest Dignitas? Since Dignitas has that added advantage of playing with the same lineup now for 7 months already.
I mean, we
more than that even.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Ethereal and Wubby already, but Bad Benny back on the main tank role, it seems like he just missed out on playing the warrior role, and he did well last week. I expect the same today in terms of controlling that front line and make sure to set up. Him and the ADRG coming in as a crew. Chromie will be the ban for Method. 2-mana Spider Queen, again, a map where you poke like crazy, but that does leave Tracer and Genji up, and Dignitas will need to decide which one they do not want to face off against.
Exactly, since Tracer and Genji are still the most banned heroes in HGC Europe, and they have been consistently banned in our last series, with one exception being Sky Temple, where Fnatic opted to ban out Abathur instead because the slug just offered a bit too much for that. But here now, immediately a bit of a change. And of course, we're coming back to ADRD, the mad scientist who every team agrees. First of all, he can pull off a weird pick, but even if he doesn't do that, his priorities oftentimes within the drafting process are slightly different, and it still ends up with them having a composition that is incredibly strong.
Yep.
So he's definitely one of the most respected drafters that we have in HGC Europe, and he can showcase that again today.
Team Dignitas still thinking about it here. They're going to decide to move away with the Malfurion. This is a bit of a soft counter. You leave Tracer up available, but you will take away that massive combo that you see between Tracer and Malfurion.
And now, of course, another question that immediately comes to mind is, if Tracer is being picked on the first spot, where does Tassadar fall? He's strong on the map, he's great in a double support composition with Tracer.
Yep.
Dignitas could also just simply pick Tassadar away and say that they combo it with something else and try to just take all of those suitable supports away from Tracer and make sure that the synergy just isn't ready for Method.
Yeah.
So that's one of these things that Method has now to consider too, because if they don't pick Tracer, then all of a sudden Dignitas can go into a Tracer Tassadar setup for the first rotation if they would prioritize it that highly.
Method thinking about it here. Characters that you can move into with the Tassadar to make sure that she's equally as effective. You have Hanzo, you have Vala to a degree, you have Cassie as well, and Sergeant Hammer. So there are definitely a lot of options available for Dignitas. That's why Caldor really brought up that point. Now Method's still thinking about it. Might just move straight into the Genji themselves and try to control the fights. Nick plays a really good Genji. They give up both, and instead
the GOAT is in. Yeah, so we asked the question coming in today. How high in priority is Urel going to rise? And I actually doubted that she would end up in a first pick position. I could have seen her as an earlier ban, but we have seen her rise throughout the series between Fnatic and Granite Gaming already, and Method even going for a first pick. Now, there could still be a bit of a confirmation bias error that the teams are just now experimenting even more with how strong she actually is, that she starts falling off a little bit after maybe day 1 or after this weekend.
Sure.
But I think it's pretty much confirmed that Urel is here to stay. The question just remains, how much of a priority does she have after the first weekend? Since we had a couple of heroes already come in that in the first weekend where they were played saw a huge amount of playtime, and then when teams just like started to correct it a little bit more down towards the bottom.
And you alluded to it.
Yeah.
Trace Tasser, here it comes in 2 and 3 picks. Dignitas staying with the Decker Kane with Genji. And so Method will have the ability to definitely dive in the target, especially with Urel being there. It's all about the main tank later on, but for now they have a solid 1 through 3 pick.
It's actually really interesting to me that Method was still able to pick Tassadar and Tracer up in the second rotation, and Dignitas didn't take either.
Well, they do take Genji, who can threaten Tassadar, which is helpful, and pull Tracer away from the front line.
Absolutely. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just if I look towards what Method has, it's just terrifying already.
Yeah.
Especially with Rhaegar being buffed a bit as well. It feels like that's another hero that can absolutely help you out. And it's, I mean, Malfurion is banned. You have that got taken away. I wouldn't really be shocked if Dignitas even thinks about a Rhaegar ban here. Not quite sure if they're going to follow through with that, since they can still target the front line. But Rhaegar has seen a bit more play. You have the extra cleanse. You can really help also with the wave clear.
Yeah.
I could have seen him totally as a ban.
Well, they decided to take out Stitches.
Given what has been taken and banned already.
What do you ban here for your Method? Team Dignitas hasn't really shown nothing too crazy here. Do you try to focus the side lane here?
I think you definitely can. I'm currently wondering a bit if there's any damage dealer that really stands out. I mean, it could still be that Dignitas goes for a complete reset combo. But yeah, front line instead, Johanna being banned out here. Could have maybe gone for the side lane. But that also means that we don't have a tank for Dignitas yet, so we're having Method already starting to really reduce the pool of potential heroes to be played. So they're absolutely not afraid that they are going to lose a frontline hero. So they have already 2 or 3 heroes set up where they are saying, okay, that's interchangeable. We don't really mind if we lose out on either one. And there's still a couple available. You talk about Garrosh, we have Muradin, we talk about him a lot in particular. Then you can still play on Tomb, of course. Diablo is another great hero for the map. Nubarok, even if you want to go for a more dive-heavy setup, which Dignitas, for example, could do with the Genji that they already have. Not quite as expected here, but, I mean, we've seen it.
What I'm worried about is the pool for tanks that have decent wave clear has been reduced dramatically between Stitches and Johanna. And Dignitas, when you look at their draft right now, Deckard and Genji, they don't really provide the most wave clear, right? Like, they're in a pretty weird spot. Diablo gets picked up, Phoenix as well, so some decent wave clear there for Phoenix. Diablo not too helpful there in that way, so Dignitas actually may have to bring the fight to Method more than they would like.
Again, I really like with what Method chose at the beginning here. Their setup with Yrel, Tassadar, Tracer is already looking incredibly strong, and I think this could be getting really rough for Dignitas. I mean, Dignitas has the advantage of playing with this roster now for a long time, and really, they flow as a team.
Yeah, they know what each other's going to do.
Exactly, and their lineup, it was amazing to see when they changed the lineup how quickly they had synergy between players and how quickly they actually had that harmony that you expect from an experienced team, that experienced in the sense of playing together as a 5-man. And since then, they had a lot of time to improve on that even more. So they're just a well-oiled machine. But Method already looked good when they came back with those 5 players that played in 2017 at BlizzCon. And I think with the draft they have a chance of taking Dignitas down, or at least threatening a win there. And we have Muradin, and we see Karazim over Rhaegar now chosen.
Method has dive, that is for sure. Tracer, Karazim, Muradin, Yrel. Find a target, delete it.
Yeah, especially Phoenix needs to be careful.
Yeah, and Tassadar on the side, providing those shields and also the wave clear.
Also 7-sided available against Diablo.
True.
He gets put into a bit of an awkward spot. Next thing, of course, now we're talking about Wooby, goes up against Yrel, and the big question is, what's going to be the hero for him? Now, Wooby played also a lot with Yrel, so it could be that the high priority that we see on her is just simply to make sure that Wooby can't access her.
So we get Blaze for the final pickup. Bit of a different setup than I would expect on this map. But I think it really kind of domino effects from the bans. Honestly, Chromium and Malfurion being taken away when we've been seeing so much Tracer and Genji. But the focus on removing wave clear tanks was the big surprise. Draft unfolds. How do you like it for each team?
I think that Method got exactly what they wanted. The question is simply, is it enough to get the win here? Dignitas had, in my opinion, to adjust more in their drafting, but especially with the start of the draft, getting Yrel, Tassadar, Tracer, that is exactly what Method was aiming for. And then their wave clear ban on Johanna already, I think, convinced me that no matter what they get here in terms of tank, we've been fine with it. Now they have good setup around Stormbolts. They have also, of course, then Karazim, who can put in single target damage if they get a Stormbolt against, say, Phoenix, but also 7-sided. I think they have what they want. Question simply is the execution there.
For me, the saving grace for Dignitas is having the Lightning Breath into the Salvo. Lightning Breath already a natural pickup against dive that's coming your way. If you want to try and dissuade your opponents from actually getting a win or a pick in a team fight, you drop that Lightning Breath, try to hit a couple members. But with the Salvo to answer back too, team fights could swing in favor of Dignitas if they're able to pull off that combo. Let's go to game number 1 here for Tomb the Spider Queen in this best of 5 series. On the left, Kaldor, will you do the honors of introducing Team Dignitas?
Happy to do exactly that. Dignitas looking strong so far, but let's find out if they can get the win today. Wooby on Blaze. We see Snitch on Genji. Poik on the other hand, playing Phoenix for now. We have JPL on Diablo, and last but not least, Zelia on Deckard Kane.
On the right side, in the red, Ethereal playing Yrel, Kirsten on Karazim, Bad Benny on Muradin, Nick on Tracer, and ADRD on Tassadar. And Ethereal has been putting in work on Yrel. Watching him stream this morning, actually, before we started to work, mentioning that he has just spammed out the hero every single chance that he gets. We did get a murky game, but still, Yrel has been the main focus. And he mentions that he loves the Divine Steed talent at level 7, to the point where he actually switches over to different heroes and feels like he's missing something in a lot of heroes' kits because he doesn't have the Divine Steed. He loves what Yrel brings to the battlefield.
And now he has an opportunity to show exactly that. Dignitas versus Method is going to be a super important series. This is really, again, one of those series where every single map is of huge importance, since both of these teams could end up being in a tie situation later on, depending on individual performance here, of course. For now, already slight aggression at the start of the game. JPL with a turn-in of 4 gems. They are not joking around here. They're just fighting for every gem, and that's what we're going to see. Every time you can get a turn in, you're probably going to go for it right away. Huge aggression already from our mobile heroes here. Nick is trying to find some backline damage. Snitch is diving in, trying to put the pressure on Tracer herself, as we have our 2 bot laners locked into that 1 versus 1 battle.
JPL trying to buy a little bit of time here. Snitch has already got a few gems. Poik dealing with Nick, though, in this top left. Needs to be careful. Pulse Bomb is available. He's able to teleport out. Knows that Zelia's back there to help him out. Pulse Bomb actually doesn't get dropped. Bad Benny, though, stepping up as a Storm Ball. These two are truly brawling. Yeah, Perfect Storm also taken as a level 1 talent for him, so he's definitely going to try and help out with setups for burst kills, and especially around Tracer, of course. That's what Method is looking for. Now they have Tassadar that provides a lot of vision for them that they can use later to dominate turn-ins and also try and shut down attempts from Dignitas to get a Web Weaver wave. But we are also looking for that first kill. And Benny actually doing pretty well with the stacking here against JPL. I mean, we're still super early in the game, but so far he's connecting with the Stormos quite nicely. Already at 4 stacks right now. Also looking over to Tassadar, who's currently at 240 already in the sex that he needs. 500 gets the first benefit. Of course, at 1,000, we'll have the second benefit, so extra damage and extra range. ADRD will be the wave clear duty for Method, but also he'll be in a position where he needs to delay the turn-ins from Team Dignitas. That Size Storm is always a powerful tool to do that. Yeah, they're already in position down here, and Blaze still needs to soar, but here comes a quick jump, helping with the wave clear a bit, and also putting the pressure onto Snitch. Job well done by Zero. Doesn't really result in a kill, but even if you can just get some free damage in, that already helps. Might force an early tap on the fountain from your opponent, or at least force them to play a little bit more defensive, and that's what Method uses now to go in and secure a few more gems on the turn. And Vision actually so important that we even have Air Ally taken now again from Kirsten on Karazim. Gives you the extra charge so you can dash around a little bit too. True. Great benefits. Night Camp pushing in the middle lane here. Method doesn't have much to defend against it, bringing 3 to the middle. This is where that lack of wave clear for Muradin and Tracer will hurt. Luckily, they do have ADRD who's doing his best to clear it out. But this also gives the opportunity for Dignitas to turn around and drop off their gems. And 26 have been turned in, while Wubby, all by himself, gets a 3-man jet propulsion. Can he get out? Nope. Nick comes in with a pulse bomb and secures first blood for Method. Yeah, not only that, they also take the gems away from him and they secure him here. So job well done by Method. Early kill. Also, when we talk about Yrel and the hero, the gift of the Naru taken on level 4, so it's all about healing one of your allies that is nearby. And that's really an important tool for big team fights. And also a slight adjustment from the Yrel build that we've seen in the Fnatic versus Granite Gaming series. Yeah, we got the armor instead at level 4 whenever you jumped in for that 5 seconds. So here instead we're getting just a nice burst of heal. Better for single healing compared to the allied spread of AoE armor that you get for Yrel. We're going to see Team Dignitas clearing out the middle lane, but as you mentioned, them losing out on gems puts Method in the clear lead. If Method is able to turn in, which they need 5 more gems to do so, they'll be able to open up this map, which will give more room for Tracer to play.
I mean, Method looks really good so far, and it's kind of what we expected. Dignitas, on the other hand, is a team that is just so dominant, especially when it comes to late-game team fights, and can simply, with a simple, coordinated team fight, turn it around. But they are struggling at this point. Snitch goes down as we have Ethereal with Urel once again going in and creating an opportunity here. And that's exactly what they need to do. He also has gone into the Divine Steed, so we're going to see a lot of aggressive plays here by them. And they're going for Whoopi, and that could be another kill against Blaze.
They are diving turrets. He jumped in the Pyromaniac just to stay alive. JPL turns around, attempts to jump on Ethereal, but should have a jump up pretty soon. And while that all happened, Red Weavers begin to spawn for Method.
Did you just call them the Red Weavers?
I did. The Red Weavers.
That's actually not bad.
It works, man.
Call them the Blue Weavers and the Red Weavers. I love it. Okay, I'm on board with that. But yeah, so Method plays this really well. They're super aggressive with this. They're definitely not just sitting there and waiting for Dignitas to overstep and make a mistake, because Dignitas usually doesn't make any. You need to force these mistakes out of them, and that's what Method is currently trying to do. And they have 2 kills against Zero already. They're now trying to push heavily at the bot lane in particular. Ethereal doing extremely well with the coordination here, and definitely justifying that first pick on Urel.
I mean, he's putting a lot of pressure on Snitch in particular. Snitch cannot use his deflect until after the knockback happens. It's happened twice already so far where he tries to interrupt it. One resulted in a kill. Snitch already adapting though, holding his deflect longer in these fights, but it is something that is a bit of an issue for him.
Yeah, Benny jumping out at the top as Decker was trying to lock him down, but the wall at the bottom is gone. Experience lead now for Method with an early on Webweaver phase, not too shabby. If they get a little bit more at the top, that would be great for them, especially if they're able to take down the fountain. Bit unlikely though. But yeah, great job here. So the GOAT is definitely adding the value. Also, we talk a lot about Karazim and what he goes for when we're having a Tracer or double support composition set up. In this case, it's actually not Color Slide, not heading for the armor. We had a very similar setup on Sky Temple for Granite Gaming when they were going up against Fnatic earlier. They decided in favor of the armor, but it's the added life leech to make it easier for Nick to sustain himself.
Especially if he can buy time. No lockdown comes in from Dignitas. Method will be able to get a lot of value out of that extra lifesteal.
And I also don't think they're really too worried about the burst damage coming in on the side from of Dignitas here. So it's not that we're seeing the same setups or any kind of massive displacement.
Now, Tim's about to hit for Method, and they'll have a window here where they have a full level over their opponents. Not quite enough gems to move in for a turn-in. They have a total of 44 available to them right now. Need a few more.
But they're closing in on it, and it definitely is now an awkward spot for Dignitas where they have to sit back and they're trying to use that time to at least get a camp for themselves. So that helps. Gives you a little bit more pressure on the map and also pushes then the lane out, helps you with that. And there's very little they can do in the meantime anyways. There is no 10 for them. They can't move out onto the map in for those few seconds. So Method replies in kind. They know they can't force a kill here just yet, so instead they're trying to get a few more gems to complete another turn-in and also get counter pressure in the mid lane.
They can wait on those two, wait for it to push a little bit. Team Dignitas, however, will take the opportunity while Middle is pushing in to try and go for a turn-in, but with Karazim and Tracer dancing around and Tasker to join them, that task is quite difficult, and they're starting to accumulate a lot of gems here. 64 sitting on Dignitas.
Yeah, they have a lot. For Method, it would be a dream if they can force a fight and win it. But the turn-in attempt of Dignitas is looking good. That Benny with the Stormbolt though. Good interrupt here once again. Dig only needs 6 more gems, and Zelia is in a perfect position here, but ADRD is still able to interrupt with another storm.
Those side storms. Once you hit level 7 and you have that ability to kind of drop those down, you will continually delay your opponent, and then all you need is one teammate to step up occasionally and help out while you wait for your side storm to come off cooldown. And finally, Team Dignitas will get their own Webweavers pushing in, but they gotta deal with this Night Camp first, and they deal with it pretty easily.
Benny is getting a lot of stacks here, sitting at 21 right now, so he's getting a lot of free interrupts here, or a lot of free Stormbolts whenever he interrupts with one, and they even jump in again. They're going for JPL. The 7th side is not strong enough, but here comes the bomb. JPL barely survives. Here comes the salvo as Dignitas is trying to turn around. If they can confirm a kill just as the Webweavers come down, that would be fantastic for them. It's not quite happening here. Genji even going a bit deep for that. JPL barely getting away. And you know what made it happen?
Xaylia.
It's level 1 talent. No, the Soul Shield. That kept him alive there through the bomb.
And Xaylia, the 4-man stay a while listen. But yes, Soul Shield keeping him alive just barely. But Xaylia stepping up and making sure to lock down Method and prevent them from continuously chasing was a great moment for Team Dignitas. They answered back and burned a couple of cooldowns as well. The Salvo came out and Method didn't lose anybody, but they are about to lose the fort.
Yeah, that fort is history. But always close. Diablo falls, and yes, he will be back with just less souls and less survivability there for a moment, but that would have been the perfect moment in time to get a kill, just as your opponent is grabbing the objective. So Method showing this on-point aggression that he can just flip on. And now Aethero again trying to set something up against Whoopi here, but the turn-ins are tickling in as Xaylia is dropping his 15 gems. Interrupts are happening towards the top side, but both of the teams still with enough gems to get the next objective. And Dignitas is of course now very interested in snowballing this because Method is still slightly ahead in experience and will get that earlier level 13 talent.
Method only needs 8 more gems, so trying to buy some space. Curson goes for turn on the top, but Xaylia is able to delay that. Poik will get the second delay. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Bad Benny and Urel trying to get that lane pushed in and get 13. Snag level 13.
Oh, there's on the other hand, trying to sneak the interrupt here, but that didn't work. Snitch was also in trouble as all of this started. The Stormbolt connects again and he's immediately being targeted. That's also where Kerosene with that on-point damage comes into play. But that's actually a Method looking really strong right now. There's a couple of cooldowns burned by Dignitas and there's still a talent behind.
And the turning goes on to favor the Method. There we go. They finally drop off the gems, and they'll be looking to break down some forts to exchange the fort that they lost in the middle lane. Dignitas, meanwhile, clearing up as much as they can to get level 13, so they are well equipped to handle the push coming their way.
I'm still really liking this. Game number 1 already, a back and forth the entire time, with Dignitas just slightly trailing behind. And I feel that underlines again how strong Method is, and we've been talking about this ever since the lineup came together, but it's really cool to just see how they're just working as this well-oiled machine that just has that rhythm. They might not quite be at the same level that they were at BlizzCon 2017 yet, but they're definitely on a good way to come back to that old form and maybe even surpass it.
Yeah, their trajectory should be climbing over the next few weeks. Bad Benny buying some time here in the middle, slowing down the rotation in the middle wave so Method can focus on getting a kill in the middle, and they secure one on Diablo with a 7-sided strike. Gems are going to be dropped. Poik steps up to try and grab a few.
Whoopi actually got a ton of those, so they didn't lose all of them, but that's definitely an awkward position to be in. Benny is a bit low, needs to wait for a trade to kick in, and Kerosene is also healing that out. Curson doing well with that. Things are looking very good for Method right now. They have an entire level lead over Dignitas, and they're currently trying to enlarge that even.
Honestly. Well, the thing about Bad Benny here on Muradin, and that's why he's so strong in the meta, is he literally delayed 3 people so he could jump over a wall and set up that kill for Method. That's why Muradin is so strong right now. It's something that you really need to put in your own gameplay.
And it's just pretty cool with how tanky Diablo is currently, also with that Soul Shield, how he's trying to make sure that he can't simply get sniped by Method, but with a 7-sided and the Tracer Pulse Bomb and everything else that is pushed on him, you can't just simply sustain yourself through that. It's really difficult. And especially since we have through the Stormbolt also now extra damage coming in with those 28 stacks that we currently see from Bad Benny.
The Fleck comes out on the Pulse Bomb, so Snitch will survive, but he is bruised and battered. Xaylia will try to heal him up while the rest of Dignitas steps up and tries to force a fight. JPL will have a charge in a second here, and they still have that Lightning Breath and Salvo combo as Salvo just comes up.
Yeah, 30 stacks now for Bad Benny. I mean, this is just going to continue, and this will threaten the front line even more. He's just keeping those stacks up, but here comes a stay a while as Whoopi turns in. It's actually really nice. This is the second time that they're trying this, and this time they actually pull it off, but it's kind of fun to see that happen.
Can they get out, though? Oh, they tried to. Diablo goes with a stun. Jet Propulsion comes in afterwards. Bad Benny takes a lot of damage. Man, Method takes a beating here. Kerosene trying to heal them up, but Bad Benny not going to be so lucky as the combo comes out. Snitch goes in, secures the kill with the help of Whoopi.
Fantastic turnaround here. Extremely well done by Dignitas. Method is the team that goes in and tries to secure a kill, but then they go a bit too deep and Dignitas is able to turn it around. And a lot of that just happened through the jet propulsion we saw from Blaze. Turning around, getting the hit, getting the stuns, and then not even with Avatar and his healing static on level 13 was Muradin able to keep himself alive there. And it couldn't have come at a better time for Dignitas, just as the Web Weavers pushed through. So now they're pushing on 3 lanes, and they are about to overtake Method in experience.
They should get 16 on this, but Method wants to try and get a pick. Before the 16 hits, Curson chasing Poik here. But with heals coming out and JPL to protect him, he's just fine.
Poik is really the one that has to watch out the most for this comp. It's not only JPL at that front when the 7-sided hits, but with Karazim in play, it's definitely the hit point pool, the low one on Phoenix, that's an issue. JPL again eats the entire salvo there once more. Yaral goes in, drops the ult. And Goat Girl is doing her thing, and this time the Sane Violent Listen is not setting up that opportunity.
They gotta get in the bunker, they get in, X-Strike comes out, they're dancing, dropping down the fire.
Nice.
Salvo hits multiple members. Snitch about to have a Swift Strike, he wants Nick. He sees Nick on the side, the Jet Propulsion does not connect though, and Nick is able to secure a kill. Snitch moves in, Nick gets the recall, but Tracer eventually falls.
3 kills against 1. Great play by Nick, but there was just not enough space for him towards the end. But he at least gets the kill against Blaze, and that was an important one. But Dignitas now, they of course know how to play with such an advantage. They have the 4 versus 2 on the map, and they immediately go for it.
Zero goes in, hits the K to make sure the Stay Wireless is a hit with the bunker, saving the opportunity for Dignitas. The Salvo also connecting on everyone here. Archon has to use the Dimension Shift to get away. Webby goes for Jet Propulsion here as he wants it Nick, but he sidesteps it. Snitch goes in here on the side, puts a little bit of damage with the recall coming out. Nick locked in targets, and he gets picked up eventually.
Yeah, Nick was just waiting for the Jet Propulsion here. He was just baiting it at this point. He was like, yeah, if you go for me, you die. He himself can't get out anymore. The question, of course, still remains, could he have gotten away there? But I feel like the kill was definitely worth it. Gives you a bit of underdog experience as well. But now they have to deal with the boss. It's 4 kills against 4. We still have Method in a position where they're not too far behind in experience. The problem is that they now have to deal with the Web Weaver wave and the boss. And that is going to hurt a lot.
That it is. The sport definitely going down. Web Weavers to join as well. Dignitas can make a play for the keep wall and maybe even get that keep low if they are able to push hard enough here. Method are doing their best to frantically clear this up as quickly as possible. Genji already bolstered out the middle lane by pushing it in and can make a play to come to the top right, and they will. Dignitas is going to march in this top lane and try to force the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you really want to keep here, of course. That would be the dream. At least you want to take a huge lead in experience. And currently, Dignitas is still rotating Genji between 2 lanes to clear the waves. They're realizing that they can't quite get the top lane here. But as long as they set themselves ahead for on a path to level 20, they're going to be absolutely all right with this. So they have an entire level lead for them. But Method has shown aggression and also the kill potential that the combo runs. So if they get that kill, it would be great. But in the last fight, Dignitas just was too strong.
They're thinking about it.
The coordination that we saw there was just amazing. Lightning breath into the salvo and everything. Again, another Storm Bolt. 37 stacks now for Bad Benny. Really working on that tip.
Theo wanting to maybe move in and force the fight, but Dignitas not in a position where he can knock him into his teammates. And they have to defend the bottom lane, and that keep goes down to a little under half health. Method, they hold for now, but as you mentioned, that 20. Dignitas on the path towards getting that 20, only 3/4 level away. Method's going to try and force the issue. Bad Benny already sharking forward, trying to find a Stormbolt.
I mean, all that they need at this point is a turn-in. If Method gets the turn-in, they should be able to drop the fort in the middle in the bot lane, and that would bring them back in experience. So they are not out by any means. They just have to make sure that Dignitas doesn't stall it out until level 20.
They're stalling already. Bad Benny lurking in the shadows. ADRD actually takes the pressure as Cinch goes in.
I mean, they have the vision that they provide now, but I feel they can force that fight at this point. All right, here comes Karazim, the cleansing touch. They need that turn-in. I mean, if they get it, it's going to be great, but Dignitas is just buying time, and they are 19.5 already. They're not really interested in heavily committing here, but if they can fight on the spell aura, they would definitely take it. So that camp is a problem for Method, and that's why they're burning it down that quickly.
Dignitas trying to double off what gems they have and bait Method into a fight, maybe clear out their gems, playing it slow and safe, while he's slowing them down. Putting out that damage too, meanwhile continuing to soak.
So right now, this is basically Dignitas saying, well, take the Web Weavers if you want them. We will defend because we're going to get level 20, but take them if you want them right now. And Method is okay with that. They're just saying, like, whatever, let's grab it. So they grab the objective, even they know that Dignitas will have their level 20. But you could see that happen. Once the Dignitas had enough experience, they rotated down and they simply let them have the top turn-in point. And just said, yeah, we're going to have Storm Talents. If you're okay to just drop your gems for that, that's okay with us as well. And that's now a moment where Method just says, we get our Web Weavers, we need to make sure that with the Web Weavers we get 20, and then we can take fights.
And they step out aggressively. Dignitas already in the middle. Top left needs to be the lane they clear out the quickest, obviously, as that would be the area where the keep will be taken out, if that is allowed to continue pushing.
All right, that forward should more or less do the trick here. If they get that, here comes the engage though, just before the 20. Now there are the Storm Talents. Once again, Stormbolt, they got in trouble. Zelia needs to be careful here, and he goes down, but the lightning breath is good, and Bunker's already on the ground as we're seeing Dignitas trying to reply in kind. They get the kill against Tracer, and that's most of the damage that we're seeing here, but Phoenix is low. His 20 procs, he barely survives and tries to get out.
ADRD trying to destroy from the back lines, but he just can't do it on Archon. It's just not enough damage. Snitch dancing around the strike. Wubby is in trouble. Can he get out? Jet Propulsion is gonna be up, but the slow from ADRD is enough, and Curson is able to get in and get the final blow.
That's 21 gems that they just lost, and the bot lane is still active. Method all of a sudden is again with their hands on the trigger, starting to push this forward. They have a 4 versus 3 on the map, and they're trying to at least break down these walls. They've done a lot of damage in that last fight, and especially taking down Zelia this quickly and making sure that he couldn't set anything up with his stay a while and listen was fantastic. The kill against Tracer, that's what kept Dignitas alive in this game, because without that, there would have been so many options for Method to maybe even clean out the game, if not just simply take a keep or two.
Yeah, those options are the middle keep and the bottom keep, both already open with the turrets. Method kills back and waits for Tracer to come back. At the same time, Dignitas gets Decker Kane, and they'll be having Blaze in about 15 seconds. Good news for Dignitas fans, though. If you look down the bottom left, they actually have enough in terms of gems for a turn-in, so if they grab one more, they'll be able to move in for that turn-in and try to finish out the game. But Method, fully aware of that, are grabbing all night camps, Giants as well. Push out the lane, get that vision, and get an idea of where exactly Dig is on the map.
And Method is getting really close to securing a turn-in for themselves too. They are not quite in possession of all the gems they need just yet, but they're close. And they're actually making the play for the boss here. Now that is a bit of a ballsy call at this point, because Dignitas is close. They have the vision, but that is... I mean, that is asking for a team fight.
Halfway through the boss. But Snitch scouts it out. His team is aware.
I would have been amazed if Dignitas did not try to sniff that out. Alright, there we go. They have enough gems. Turn-in is starting. There's a lot that they're dropping already. Curson is getting rid of his too. So they have 2 heroes that have to turn in for this. Storms are being dropped. Double camp on the map, by the way. That's a problem for Dignitas. Yeah. They will have to react to the bot lane eventually. And that means that they have to peel someone off from the turn-in points. And that would allow Method to either turn in or engage into a 5 versus 4 fight.
Those Giants and Knights are trying to make progress in the middle and the bottom. Wubby's coming to the side. Will he get the interrupt?
They need to watch Zelia. Zelia is going to try and set this up for them again.
Snitch.
Bot
dancing out, back and forth. Constant tug of war. Method just buying time. Those Giants are getting to the keep. Wubby tries to force the issue, gets a jet propulsion.
Yeah, Dignitas is running out of time here. Yeah. They definitely are. They need to react to that bot lane, and that keep is already suffering. And again, another Stormbolt connecting. 52 stacks by now on Bad Benny's side.
Snitch goes in, trying to force someone to overcommit. Finally, GPL gets the engage he wants. Drops on the 7-sided strike, coming in. The bunker to keep them all alive. Wubby's trying to chase Nick back. Nick does kite backwards. Stay a while, listen, connecting with 4.
And here comes the salvo. They're trying to get the salvo in. That might be the kill, and it is. Tracer goes down. Can they get a counter kill, though? Wubby is low. Jet propulsion is not enough to keep him alive. He falls too. It's a 4 versus 4. The keep at the bot lane is nearly dead, as we are seeing again Bad Benny jumping in. Urel as well. They're bunny hopping across the entire map here, trying to confirm another kill, and he get it. Zelia goes down, but Tassadar follows.
Tassadar follows. Snitch trying to get the Swift Strikes, jumping on what potions are left over, but Ethereal comes in and he pounces them. Poik trying to escape here, grabs the gems as well, dropping down the slow movement. JPL steps up to try and peel for him, but I don't think there's going to be enough here. The shields are going to be up for Poik. He continues to kite back, but he falls at 33 gems here as Method cleans up Team Dignitas.
7-sided to the face, and Diablo goes down. Bot lane already attacking the core here as we see Method starting to move in. The Web Weavers are also coming online as we have the last few gems completed by Method. They're going straight for the core here. Diablo is back to business, but JPL, can he defend this alone? It's unlikely.
Old Diablo may have been able to, but this one, no,
5
not so
seconds.
much. He can sustain and hold. Now 5 seconds to right. Bunker will be up for Blaze. He can use that if he needs to. Stay a while, listen. Available for Decker Kane. 10 more seconds. Diablo attempts to slow down Bad Benny and Curson. Curson important here as he brings the damage to the core.
A bit of damage is all that they need. The Web Weavers are coming down. Top keep, of course, is also going to fall pretty soon, but the core is already on the way down. 70%. Deckard is there. He can go for the sail while listen. He's trying to find it, but we have 50% on the core. Method is going for it right now. The Web Weaver is coming in, and this should be it as the Method is trying to claim victory here. Kerosene falls, but the core is at 20%. Stay a while and listen. The Web Weaver is there. They're trying to burst it down 10%, and Method takes game number 1 against Dignitas.
Wow. Incredible game number 1 here for Method. Able to push towards the core, Dignitas doing their best to hold on at the last minute, but it's just not enough. And Urel in that last team fight, being able to jump around, chase down the targets, and secure the kill was instrumental for Method to get the win.
Absolutely. There was fantastic setup that we saw there from both teams, and just the mobility that we had through Urel, through Nick and Bad, like everyone, every single hero in this lineup is just jumping around all the time, trying to secure kills here. And it was something that they did extremely well, and they had such a success chasing heroes down. It was incredibly well played by Method in that last team fight, especially with all the pressure that was there against Tracer in particular.
Yeah.
Nick, even with the Tacita shields, had a rough time staying alive because he was such a priority target. And with that lightning breath into Salvo combo, it also was so tricky for him to just get away from any of that damage. So it was just kill against kill. But at the same time, there was also the pressure play at the bottom of the map, where Dignitas just accepted, guys, we can't give them the turn, we have to sacrifice the keep.
That setup, yeah, exactly. They had the Knights pushing in the middle, the Giants pushing in the bottom. Method dared them to say, either come in and fight or go defend that, and we get the turn in with the Web Weavers, and then you have to defend 3 pushing in here towards the late game. That was so brilliant by Method, and we actually had the last team fight to show how it really unfolded and how Method were able to kind of toy around with Dignitas and force the issue. Here is the engage that happens. JPL moves in. The 7-starter came out, and there was also the bunker afterwards, but look at ADRD shelling away. Now, stay a while and listen. Pretty darn big, but Nick able to get some decent damage in before falling. The big pulse bomb into the knockoff means Snitch has to retreat, and that left Wubby all by himself. They were able to clean that up, and look at Athero, just buying time like crazy.
Yeah, and also, of course, trying to just displace an opponent here by jumping in and pushing them back. And especially Deckard had such a problem. He doesn't have the mobility that we are seeing on Method side. So it was just a kill against a kill. But that setup with that Siege Giant camp that we see now moving through the keep at the bot lane, that was fantastic. The team fight was great. It was amazing how well Method coordinated that. But just setting everything up to get these kills and to make it count and to always put Dignitas in a spot where it was a loss-loss situation for them. They had to sacrifice something, and then they lost the team fight on top of that too. So they not only lose the keep, but they lose the team fight.
Yeah.
The opponent is getting the turn in, they lost their gems, and that leads to the core rush that we see there. But the setup was already great for Method, and then of course that spectacular team fight where Dignitas was making it incredibly difficult for Method to sustain themselves through the fight and even leads with the first kill. But Method at the end of the battle is still walking away with a full team wipe and only loses 2.
That fight was so long, we had 7-star strike actually proc twice on Diablo, which is pretty crazy to think about. Let's go to game number 2 in this best of 5 series. Method is up 1-0 over Dignitas. First pick goes over to Dig as they'll elect to take that, meaning Method will grab Towers of Doom as their map choice.
I'm pretty happy with how the series starts here, because this is more or less exactly what we expected from the series. We expected Method to be strong, to have a strong showing here, and Dignitas to show themselves again in that dominant fashion that we've seen throughout the first phase of 2018. Now, Method has shown that they can take them down, but Dignitas made sure that it was incredibly difficult, and especially towards the mid game, it looked like Dignitas was flipping the switch again. It was just like changing the